Tomorrow's game against Arsenal in the Premier League is more about just winning points. It's more about the title race. It's about even more than just bragging rights. It's about Chelsea breaking a spell that's been going on for in and around 5 years now and beating Arsenal in the Premier League. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today, that means we are talking about tomorrow's massive clash of the Titans when Chelsea take on Arsenal in the Premier League. There's so much on the line for this game, man. And counter to what I said in the intro, it is about all of those things. But really, for me, the biggest thing is just about getting a win over a team that have been a bogey team for us for such a long time now. Arsenal have been in the ascendancy for years, but this time I think it's Chelsea's turn. But guys, before we get into it, if you're enjoying the content and would like to see more, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments. Whatever gets you through your day. Right, so the game. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about before I get into my predicted lineup, which we'll be doing later in the video. The biggest one, and this is the thing that I think is most important about tomorrow, Chelsea haven't beaten Arsenal in the last 7 Premier League meetings. The last time Chelsea got the win over Arsenal in the Premier League was in 2021. That is near enough 5 years ago. There's been one pasting that we got when they beat us 5-0, but other than that, it's been a lot of cagey matches and a lot of draws. But something feels different about this time. I know Arsenal are absolutely smashing it at the moment, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we are just a really unpredictable team that have shown in recent memory that we are adaptable enough to beat the big teams at the time of asking. So in terms of both teams' recent performances, we're actually on very similar kind of trajectories. Arsenal have won 4 of their last 5 and drawn 1, and Chelsea have won 4 of their last 5 and drawn 1. And both teams are coming off of the back of fairly spectacular wins against European giants in the Champions League, with Arsenal putting Bayern Munich to the sword and us absolutely stampeding over Barcelona at Stamford Bridge. So there is a bit of nuance to that. I guess you would argue at the moment Bayern Munich are the tougher opponent than Barcelona, but at the same time you can only beat what is in front of you, and Barcelona fans were sure they were going to have Chelsea in that game. We also lost to Bayern Munich in the Champions League this year, but I don't really factor that into the difficulty scale purely because we got a man sent off, and even with getting a man sent off, we gifted them their goals, man. It wasn't like they played really well through us. Even with 10 men, it relied on our players making horrendous mistakes in order for them to get their goals. Maybe that's some copiing. Let me know what you think in the comments. So the next thing to talk about is a couple of really interesting points from Maresca's press conference pertaining to tomorrow's game. So the first one, the big news, is about Cole Palmer. Supposedly, not only is he available to be in the squad tomorrow, but he is ready to start. Now, does that mean he's absolutely going to start? I don't think so. We'll get onto my my starting 11, obviously, in a little bit. But at the end of the day, chances are he's going to be in the squad. And that is amazing. Like, being able to bring Cole Palmer on, if things aren't going well, that might be just the sort of magic that we need. I think it's too early to throw him in. I say that, the guy hasn't played football in 3 months, do you know what I mean? So to just throw him straight in cold, even though he likes being cold, to throw him in cold to, the arguably the hardest game in the Premier League at the moment and potentially our toughest game of the season, that seems a little bit much when he's just coming back from injury. But if he can get 10, 15, 20 cursory minutes at the end of the game, then maybe that's enough for him to make an impact if that's what we need him to do. So yeah, man, I'm not 100% sure. Cole Palmer, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see him. And in a massive game like this, he could be really useful. Arsenal's defence are absolutely unbelievable. Or they don't even need their first team available for their defence to be really good. They're doing so well and they've got really good players. It's going to be difficult, man. It's going to be difficult. Their defenders are going to definitely keep us at bay, and having someone like a Cole Palmer available to come off the bench in a tricky moment, if the football's getting a bit stodgy and we're finding it hard to get through them, Cole Palmer could come off and potentially make something magic happen. So the other news, it's not like, I think it's big news, and there's a little bit to talk about it. Enzo Maresca was asked quite directly, are you ready for a title challenge this year? Now, last year, although this is a weird one because I didn't think we were on for a title challenge last year, but your manager shouldn't just come out and say that. He came out and said last year, no, we're still too young, and even though we were doing really well, and that preceded him saying that preceded then a massive drop off in form. I'm not saying they're intrinsically connected, but there is an argument to be had that if he'd have been G'ing up his team and kind of trying to make them dream big, then maybe some intangible qualities could have pushed through to help us through that bad patch of form. But with Enzo Maresca coming out and saying, no, it's a young team, we're not ready for the title. Ultimately, one way or the other, he said to the team, I don't believe in you to go for a title challenge this year. He's not doing that this year. He's coming out, I say all guns blazing. Again, there's nuance to it, but essentially he's coming out and saying, yeah, I think we could be ready for a title challenge this season. Now, he caveated that by saying a few things like, it's early. Do you know what I mean? And it is. It's November, man. It's November. It's literally not even December yet. So, and he said, let's see how things go, where things are in February, March, and then, we can have a look then. But at the end of the day, this is a massive positive compared to what he was saying last season, where he was just like, no. Now, it's a weird one, isn't it? It seems hypocritical of me to not believe we're on for a title challenge, as I don't this year, and also lambast Maresca for saying the same thing. But it's different, isn't it? Like, I'm a fan. I can just be objective and reasonable because the team don't hear what I say. But when your manager is coming out and saying that, it's really different, man. Even if you don't believe you're on for a title challenge, if you're doing really well, you need to keep the momentum going, and words are very powerful. So even if Maresca doesn't actually believe we're on for a title challenge this year, I appreciate the fact that he's not throwing it away this time, and maybe that's a lesson he learned from last year, or maybe he does just genuinely feel ready. We'll never actually know what's going through the bold Italian's head, but at the same time, it's good that he's coming out and saying stuff like this now, right? Because what we need for this game is fire. We need our team to be going into this game thinking like, we can beat Arsenal. If we beat them, there's only a 3-point gap. Maybe we could go for the Premier League this year. Maybe we could go for the Champions League this year. Maybe we could win it all. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, man. Obviously, it doesn't really matter. In the grand scheme of things, what does matter is not only are the boys physically and technically ready, but they are mentally ready for this game tomorrow. And Enzo Maresca coming out and putting that bit of pressure on them about saying they're ready for a title challenge, despite all of the injuries, despite the hiccups, the red cards, the decisions that haven't gone our way, and the tricky fixtures. He's come out and said that he thinks we can do it, and I do think that is a good thing. So what do we know about Arsenal, man? Arsenal are just smashing it this year, aren't they? It does feel a little bit different as well. Arsenal have been playing well now for the last 3-4 seasons. Do you know what I mean? I think they've got 3 second-place finishes in a row, which is, at the end of the day, bottling the actual title challenges themselves. They have been in front a few times and throwing points away later down the line. We are still very early, as Maresca said, so it is possible they could do that this year as well, but they've bought like champions. They reinforced their backline. They brought players like Zubimendi in to make their midfield more steely. And even though he's not actually necessarily their best looking forward at the moment, they went out and got a big name striker in Victor Gyökeres, which is weird that he actually doesn't look as good as Mikel Merino up top sometimes. Mikel Merino is a wicked finisher, man, absolutely wicked. But you have to say, and other things like reinforcements. They've bought quality reinforcements like Noni Madueke. At the end of the day, 50 mil for a squad player shows that you want something this year. You're going for that title. You're going for the jugular. And they're going to be really hard to play through, man. They've got loads of good attacking players. They've got the likes of Declan Rice and Zubimendi, who I already mentioned in midfield. Kai Havertz, don't know what's going on with him at the moment. He's always a bit hot and cold, isn't he? But it's their defence, man. It's really their defence that is the thing that is doing it for them. Do you know what I mean? Is like, you can get away with not having the best attack in the world, but if your defense is really, really good and you're not letting chances get through you, then you're just essentially giving your attackers more chances to have goals. And if they're not super, super, super top quality, it doesn't matter as much because they're going to get more chances and they feel better about the way the game is going because the defense are handling it so well. Calafiori, Timber, and Gabriel, Mosquera, do you know what I mean? They've got so many wicked players in their defence, man. And they've got a really, really good goalkeeper in David Raya as well. Their backline, for me, their backline and the base of their midfield in Zubimendi and Rice is the foundation of why their team is doing so well. So whatever we can expect tomorrow, it's going to be tough. So with that said, who do I actually think is going to play the game tomorrow? Well, let's not waste any time and get into my starting 11 for the game against Arsenal tomorrow in the Premier League. So, as you can see, I'm being relatively conservative, but what I think we've seen a few times is in big games, especially without the likes of Cole Palmer available, Enzo Maresca tends to go for a more conservative and reserved midfield, and we're going to need to do that, man. We're going to need to do that. As much as we need to have our best attackers up there and to be able to create chances and have a go, we need to not be cut up in the midfield, and we need to make sure that our defence isn't just constantly being pelted with attacks. So I've had that in mind whilst building this starting 11, and we will start with the goalkeeper. It's Robert Sanchez. Robert Sanchez is just proving a lot of people wrong at the moment, man, myself included. Like, how long is that going to last? Do I really think he's the guy to win us titles? Like, no, we haven't seen loads of mistakes in him this year, to be honest. There was the one massive bozo moment where he got sent off against Man United, and the other day, I think in the Burnley game, he kicked the ball straight in Enzo Fernandez's face from a goal kick. There was a little misunderstanding between him and Tosin when he passed the ball to Tosin. Tosin picked it up, but it looked like, do you know what I mean? A few little things, but nothing that's cost us. And last season, Robert Sanchez made 5 errors that led to goals. So far this season, technically none. So we'll have to see what happens with him long term. But as far as the game tomorrow goes, Rob Sanchez starts in the sticks. I've gone for a very familiar lineup to last time, just with a few addendums. And I'm going to put Malo Gusto at right back. I think we're going to need the energy from Malo Gusto, man. And like I see, you can see I've put Reece James somewhere else in this team as well. Malo Gusto just is starting to play really well wherever he's tasked with playing. I'm starting to see Malo Gusto less of a right back and more as just like this utility player. Do you know what I mean? This guy that can just fill in midfield. He can fill in, you know, right back or left back occasionally, or you can put him in right back and he can play as like a left attacking 8 or a left winger or a right winger. You know, he really does play really well in lots of different positions. He's got the physical attributes to do that, and he's building the mental attributes to be able to chop and change between all these positions and do really well. So I expect to see Malo Gusto start tomorrow, because even though you wouldn't say he's a better right back than Reece James, ultimately in this situation where we need to stack our midfield a little bit, having Malo Gusto here feels like a safe bet. Centre back partnership of Wesley Fofana and Trevor Chalobah, because it just has to be, doesn't it? It just has to be. Fofana's been transformative since he's come back, man. And I've mentioned this before. It's so weird with Fofana, because you don't look at Fofana and go, you're John Stones or you're a Virgil van Dijk or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But the stats just say it, man. When Fofana is in our team and feeling fit in general, do you know what I mean? We play better. We just play really well. You know, he can play in that centre-back role. He can play in the right centre-back role when one of the fullbacks, inverts into midfield, and he does it all really, really well. He nearly got involved in a goal at the start of the last game. It was one of the 4 offside goals that we got against Barcelona in the Champions League. But I think Wesley Fofana is an absolute standout, and I think Trevor Chalobah next to him. Trevor Chalobah has been our most consistent centre-back this season, and that doesn't mean that he's been an 8 out of 10 every game. He's maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10 every game, but he's not. He had a patch of games where he made a couple of mistakes, but he's getting all of the Premier League starts. I don't expect that to change tomorrow. And obviously, Marc Cucurella on the left. If they play Bukayo Saka or Noni Madueke, like there's some rumours saying that Bukayo Saka might start on the left tomorrow, just to kind of throw things out of balance for us a little bit. But either way, whatever player ends up on the right, be it Noni Madueke or be it Bukayo Saka, I will be comfortable knowing Marc Cucurella is there. He had Lamine Yamal in his little Spanish pocket the other day, man. Oh, he was so good. He was so good. Absolutely brilliant. And you know, it's kind of good that we've played that kind of player like Lamine Yamal recently, because Bukayo Saka and Noni Madueke are similar players. Ultimately, you'd probably argue that Lamine Yamal is up there with Bukayo Saka, much better than Noni Madueke. So if Noni Madueke starts there, I imagine Cucurella will have him in his pocket. Bukayo Saka, definitely a more difficult job, but at the same time, Cucurella has what it takes to make it happen. And then we get into the midfield. Moises Caicedo, bam, best midfielder in the Premier League as far as I'm concerned right now. There is an argument, actually an interesting argument about Declan Rice as well. I'll link one of my recent uploads later in the video so you can check that out. But ultimately, Moises Caicedo as a number 6, as that intercepting, defending midfielder, is just unbeatable at the moment. And I expect to see him partnered by Reece James. Reece James just looks good in midfield, man. Reece James isn't the same player that we had under Thomas Tuchel, where you pop him on the right and he just bombs up and down. This injury has changed his kind of footballing profile at the end of the day. Since he's come back, even when he plays at right back, he's not really spending loads of time bombing up and down and putting crosses in like he used to. He's a right centre-back, or sometimes he gets up there, but it's a little bit more reserved, but he's spending more and more and more time playing in the midfield recently, and he just looks great there, man. He just looks great there. Also, being our captain, I like having a midfielder who's our captain, as, you know, when Enzo Fernandez is the vice-captain as well, because it means that you are kind of in the middle of the action to be able to help direct people and control the game in that captainy kind of way. Centre attack, Enzo Fernandez, and this isn't even just about it's a little bit about the whole let's play reserve thing and put, you know, less attacking midfielders. At the end of the day, Enzo Fernandez has been phenomenal for the last few games, man, and I expect him to be really, really up for it tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? Really, really up for it. He was so unlucky not to have scored against Barcelona. 2 balls in the back of the net, both of them ruled offside. In the Burnley game, he looked absolutely phenomenal. The Wolves game, just before the international break, obviously he pulled out of that. And even with that sort of injury, the synovitis flaring up, he still looked absolutely phenomenal. It feels like Enzo Fernandez is coming into a really, really hot vein of form. And I'm very excited for that. I'm very, very, very excited for that. And I think that he deserves that start in the centre of attack, man. Like I say, I think Cole Palmer will probably come on. I think Esteval Willian could come on later in the game as well. But at the end of the day, I think starting Enzo Fernandez as that centre attacking midfielder tomorrow makes sense. And the front line, this is where things got a little bit more difficult. So we'll start with the obvious one. It's Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto is just playing so well. He's had loads of detractors and I have backed him all of the way. I think Pedro Neto is absolutely fantastic. Again, we'll be gutted not to have been attributed the first goal against Barcelona the other day with that cheeky little side back heel thing that he tried to do. It bounced off the feet of George Koundé and went in and counted as an own goal. But if the defender wasn't there, then he'd have got it. At the end of the day, he was awesome, man. And he's been really, really good for us recently. He's really growing into his role. One of the more experienced players in the team now, especially in our front line. Pedro Neto is just an absolute no-brainer for me. Absolute no-brainer. On the left, I'll say Garnacho again. Now, there are probably going to be lots and lots and lots of calls for people saying start Esteval Willian because he's in such a hot vein of form. He scored against Barcelona. Absolutely huge. Yes, I do understand and I do agree. But I just think what we need is industriousness in a lot of this game. I think, like Cole Palmer, I think you could bring Cole Palmer and Esteval Willian on in and around the 60th minute to the end of the game and turn the game on its absolute head with unpredictable flair and creativity. But I think for the bulk of this game, we need industrious players. And Garnacho, as amongst proving that he can be an attacking threat, has also proven that he can be industrious. He's not scared of running. He's not scared of getting stuck in. He's a little bit easily beaten off the ball sometimes, which is a bit of a shame. But in terms of just sheer running, fitness, getting up and down the pitch, I think Garnacho makes sense. And Liam Delap keeps his, well, I say keeps his place. He didn't start against Barcelona, obviously. Pedro Neto did, but he scored against Barcelona, man. Yes, it was a 10-man Barcelona, but it was a cool finish. And I think, so my thing with João Pedro, I would argue João Pedro is ultimately a better player than Liam Delap is, but I think for this particular profile of game and the fact that I'm not expecting to see Cole Palmer or Esteval Willian start, I think Delap is the shot. For me, João Pedro looks like a completely different player when Esteval Willian or Cole Palmer are on the pitch. Otherwise, he often flatters to deceive and gets lost in the game. Liam Delap doesn't require those two to be on the pitch to kind of look like he can be at his best self. He's a bit of a bully. He's a bit of physicality, which will be really, really handy for how they're massive centre-backs and the likes of Ricardo Calafiori, sorry. I think that Liam Delap can play a really important role in this game. He's good at holding the ball up. He's good at bringing wingers into play. Maybe not quite as creative as a João Pedro, but I do think that Liam Delap is more likely to get the start based on his qualities and the fact that he got the goal against Barcelona. João Pedro didn't even get on the pitch against Barcelona, for example. And I think Liam Delap deserves that start. So that's it, guys. That is my predicted starting 11 for the Barcelona game. I got 10 out of 11 right for the Barcelona. I've got a feeling that I might be a little bit more wrong about this one because Maresca can be really, really unpredictable with those starting 11s, but we will see how it goes. Let me know what you think of my starting 11 in the comments and tell me what yours is. Tell me, would you play Neto and Esteval? I think there'll probably be a lot of calls for Esteval. Would you just start Cole Palmer straight away and then by extension, if you've got a Cole Palmer or an Esteval on the pitch, then it feels safer to put a João Pedro up top? Have I been a bit too reserved with the midfield? Do we, let me know what you think about it in the comments, guys. I'd love to have a chat with you about this one. So that's it, man. That's it. Whoa, I'm really excited about this game, man. I was really excited about the Barcelona game. I'm building myself up quite a lot, I think is absolutely true. I'm maybe in danger of letting myself down a bit, but at the end of the day, oh man, PSG, Barcelona, do you know what I mean? Liverpool, I know Liverpool have been off form, but, they were still reasonably tough when we played them most recently. We're beating big teams, man. Maresca has shown that he can be adaptable tactically with the rotation. He shows that he's able to learn from mistakes. But Arsenal are just smashing it at the moment, aren't they? So it's going to be a really, really, really tough game. What I don't think we'll see is an absolute trouncing, and that in itself would be an improvement, right? But a draw I would be happy with, if I'm completely honest. I would be happy with a draw. Just because it will show that we can go toe-to-toe with the current champions, do you know what I mean, at the end of the day, but also so could Sunderland, so I guess maybe that doesn't say that much, but I wouldn't be screwing about a draw. I'd be reasonably happy. I'm going to predict 2-1 Chelsea. I think we can do it, man. I think we can do it. I think that hopefully Maresca will have studied that Sunderland game and see where it is that they went wrong. The biggest thing we need to worry about is set pieces. If Arsenal decide to start doing long throws tomorrow, we're toast. That's just it, isn't it? We are just absolutely toast. But at the end of the day, we haven't got loads of massive players in our team, and they do have quite a lot of big ones in there. So set pieces are definitely going to be difficult, and Arsenal just keep scoring them. They actually didn't score any set pieces against Bayern Munich, but at the same time, it's just been the story of their season so far, hasn't it, scoring set pieces? So it's definitely something we're going to have to watch out for, and it is something that we have fallen prey to a few times this season already. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did, Tell me what your predicted score is for the game tomorrow. Oh, man, I'm just so excited about it. I think it's going to be a great game one way or the other. And guys, if you enjoyed the video and you fancy sticking around to listen to some more Stamford Sync and you want to keep the Arsenal-Chelsea vibe going, then go and check out this video that I released yesterday right here. It is a video, a Who's the Better Baller video about Moises Caicedo versus Declan Rice. I look at 20 of their stats and try and figure out who's the most complete player. Nice one, guys. I hope you all have an absolutely wicked day. I'll catch up with you very, very soon. Take it easy. Peace.